Okay, perfect. Very good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Chris and I'm one of the Shortcuts educators. So I know quite a few of you have been on some of my masterclasses before and it's always great to have you on board, but we've got lots and lots of new people this morning. So a good morning to you and very much a good welcome onto my masterclass. Thank you for joining us. So this is sort of a brand new one we're going to be going through. It's going to be my Back to Basics refresher. Now we've got lots and lots of people joining us this morning. And as we've said, this masterclass is sort of being designed for complete beginners to shortcuts. So maybe you've just started as a stylist, maybe you've just started as front of house, anything like that. So this particular masterclass is really geared towards beginners, but experienced users will certainly benefit from this as well. So as always with my masterclasses, there is always a little bit of housekeeping before we get into it. So before we begin, the duration of this webinar will be approximately 60 minutes. My microphone has been switched on, whereas everyone else has automatically been muted. Now, you won't be able to speak to me as such during this masterclass, but I do always say if you want to unmute yourself, if you do want to interact with me, that's perfectly fine to do so. Questions will be taken either via the Q&A or the chat box at the end. I do always open the floor at the end for a little bit of a Q&A, but if you do want to throughout, if you do want to pop a little message in the chat box, that's perfectly fine. I will get to those ASAP. Now, again, for those regulars of mine, if you've ever been on my masterclasses, you will know we often have a little bit of a mixture between a PowerPoint and a live demonstration. For the last sort of 5 masterclasses I've done, they've all pretty much been live demonstrations. The reason is I want to get into it. I want to show you everything that we have to offer. And this one for this morning is no different. It's going to be 99% a live demonstration. Now, I am going to power through as much as humanly possible. Like I said, we've got 60 minutes to work with. I'm going to try and squeeze into that as much as possible. But what I don't want to do, I don't want to sacrifice going into the detail or anything like that. So I don't want to skip past anything and miss out on anything like that. So we're going to power straight into our live demonstration in just a sec. But before we do, as always, if you do want to chat with me further, feel free to email me at education@shortcuts.co.uk. Or give us a call on 0161 972 4900. Now, we'll apologise. We had a slight issue with our phone lines. I believe these are back up and running. If not, they will be back up and running very, very soon. Also, you can also sign up for our future masterclasses on shortcuts.co.uk/online-classes. So that's shortcuts.co.uk/online-classes. And do join us on our social media sites, our Instagrams and our Facebook. The tag handle for that is Shortcuts UK. Now, aside from these fantastic masterclasses we're going to be offering, we're also going to be looking into putting sort of frequently asked questions and tips like that as well. The masterclass will always be recorded. So if you're not able to join me throughout the entire masterclass or anything like that, if you have to drop out for clients or anything like that, not a problem. We will always send you the masterclass as well. So just drop a little email, drop a little message with your email address in the chat box. I've had 1 or 2 already just asking to be sent across. That's not a problem. If you do want the masterclass to be emailed across to you, usually takes around 48 hours. We just have to upload it. Remove any, edit a few bits. If people do chat to me, we just edit that out for GDPR. But if you do want the recording of today or any masterclass, just drop me a little message at the end. We can get that sent across to you. Perfect. Excellent stuff. So that's it for the introductions. And we're now going to jump straight into our Fusion system. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up my Shortcuts Fusion. Excellent stuff there. Okay, so we're looking at our Shortcuts Fusion system. Now, hopefully at this stage, you will all have your PIN. So if you are a brand new user to Shortcuts, maybe you're new stylist, new therapist, whatever it may be, always ensure at least at this stage, you've got yourself a PIN. Now, we're not going to cover setting up pins today because that will be covered in my next masterclass for like the management and owner. But hopefully at this stage, you will all have a pin to get the ball rolling. And now to strip it right back, as we said, we are going right back to basics. If you ever require our assistance, we may jump onto your PC and we use something called TeamViewer in order to do so. Some of you may be familiar with this. As we said, you may never heard of this. We use something called TeamViewer. That basically just means we can jump onto your computer and see the screen. So to use TeamViewer, it is an app on your computer. So you can quite literally use your search bar and just type in TeamViewer and you will get this app appear here. It will then give you a username or a password. Now, if TeamViewer doesn't open or you can't seem to find this app, you can go through our website. You can do this on shortcuts.co.uk. You can go to software support along the top just here. Once you hover over the top, you can go down to where it says logins. Once you click into logins, you can scroll down and either use the login icon via Shortcuts Connect PC or Shortcuts Connect Mac, whatever platform you're using. Sorry, Shortcuts Connect PC or Shortcuts Connect Mac, whatever platform you are using there. Now, I don't want to spend too much on that because obviously TeamViewer is a third-party application. It's not essentially, it's not owned by Shortcuts or anything like that. But for our new users, if you ever do require assistance, you will be asked for your TeamViewer ID and password. So it's just something just very quickly there talking you through how to open up your TeamViewer application. But myself or our staff members will always talk you through that anyway. So I'm now going to enter into my Shortcuts Fusion system by inputting my PIN there, and this will open up my appointment diary. So the first thing we're going to do, like we said, we're going to strip it right back. Let's have a look at our general appointment book overview. So in the top left-hand corner, we have ourselves a calendar. It is currently Monday the 10th of July. We can click onto that calendar there, and then we can choose a particular month from the top here, and a particular year from at the top here as well. We can literally click onto this and go to any month that is required. We can then also choose the year from here as well. Now you will also notice today's date is always highlighted with this little sort of blob or splodge over the top here. This is just a very quick visual indicator. And you can choose any particular date to jump ahead to. Now, as we look at this, if you are familiar with Shortcuts, you will know we love our visual indicators. And this is a very quick but handy visual indicator for you to use here within this calendar. Now, you'll notice for the month of July, we've got sort of like a dark grey section. August, we've got a black section. And then moving forward, dark grey, black, dark grey, black. That is just a quick visual indicator to highlight to you where 1 month ends and where 1 month begins. So you can differentiate between the end of the month and the beginning of the month. And then literally from there, you can just click any date you like and it will take you directly there. Along the top, we have our employee columns. We have the profile photos there as well. Towards the top right, we have today's date and today's time. So we can see it's just after 10 o'clock and it's Monday the 10th of July. Towards the bottom right-hand corner of our computer, you will also see we've got today's date and today's time. And then last but not least, right down the bottom here, the date we are currently looking at. So this is just a very quick way to help us keep track of today's date. Now, down the right-hand side, we have all of these icons and these buttons. This here is what we refer to as the navigation bar, okay? The navigation bar allows us to click and navigate to certain things. Now, we're not going to spend too much time running through that today because we want to strip it right back to the basics. This is what we call our navigation bar. Now, as we work our way down towards the bottom here, we've got sort of some other buttons. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have a menu button. Now, a menu button opens up certain and specific options to do with our appointment diary. So you'll notice if I click onto menu, I get lots of different options here. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is our view mode, okay? Now you can see we are currently looking at all day. This will tell me my opening hours and any schedules for the entire day. Now, if you're working quite a long day, perhaps 9 till 9, this will look quite zoomed out, and it may be quite difficult to differentiate when making an appointment. So if you want to essentially zoom in using our menu icon, clicking onto the drop down arrow here, we can click on to half day, and you will notice that essentially zooms in and removes the other half of the day. So you can now see we're looking at 8:45 down to roughly 2:30. Now, of course, as we move through the day, as we get to like 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock and so forth, the day will move through with you. So you don't need to worry about always being stuck here. It will continually move through the hours of the day if you've got afternoon, late afternoon, evening appointments and everything like that. And we can click onto menu again, and we can just adjust that to 3/4. And again, back to all day. And you'll notice each time I do it, it of course zooms out, but then gives me the majority or all of the day. So it's just a fantastic way to adjust that there. Now again, also under our menu icon, you've also got things such as color legend. Now you'll notice as we look at some of the appointments I've already got previously made, we've got lots of different colors. We've got a dark green, we've got a brownie beige color, and we've got a dark gray at the top here. Now, if this is pretty much your first time using shortcuts, you may look at this and think, well, what do all of these colors mean? Well, don't worry, there's actually only really sort of 10 different colors, and you will learn them within the first couple of days, so you don't need to worry. But of course, if you are thinking to yourself, well, what does the gray mean, Chris, or what does the dark green mean? Not a problem. Under our menu, we can click onto color legend, and it will show us what all of those different colors mean there. Now, the most common one is our normal, our confirmed, cancelled, no-showed, arrived, and a clash. We're going to get to the clash a little bit later on, but a clash is essentially this here. So already a very quick way to sort of change our view mode and adjust how we're looking at a few things there, just to make our experience that little bit easier. Now down the bottom here, we also have these same 5 buttons. These same 5 buttons here allow us to jump forward a day, or jump backwards a day. So I literally just think of this as flicking through the pages of a book. And at any point, we can skip back to today. Now, what about if a client says, I want to come in a week's time? Again, we've got the week icon just here, and that will jump forward 7 days at a time. But what about if a client says, well, I want to come in 2 weeks' time or 4 weeks' time? Yeah, absolutely. We could click that twice, not a problem. But remember, ladies and gents, we want to work smarter, not harder. So we can use the right side of our mouse. We can just right click, and we can jump 2, 4, or 6 weeks. So if a client says to you, I want to rebook from today in 6 weeks' time, you don't need to jump forward 6 weeks or anything like that. Just simply right click and click onto 6 weeks. Or of course as well, we can always use our handy calendar in the top left and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But as we see, it's much quicker, much easier. Just right click and 6 weeks there. So very quick ways to navigate our way around the appointment diary. Towards the bottom left, we have this icon here. Now, this is what we refer to as a filter. You'll notice it looks like a filter, a kitchen filter. However, over my time with shortcuts, I have heard lots of different names for this. The most common one is a golf tee, and the second most common one is a margarita glass. Whatever you want to refer to it, that is certainly fine by me. However, it is a filter. So what does the filter do? We've already looked at ways to change our view mode by sort of the hours, but you'll notice we've got Amy not working today. We've got Sam and Chris working, Rachel not working, and Amelia working. So using our filter icon, we can click onto it. We can click onto our filter options, and the most common one is rostered on. Rostered basically just means scheduled to work. So we can click rostered on here, and you'll notice it will remove straight away our staff members that are not rostered, that are not scheduled to work. So you can see it alleviates that accidental error of making an appointment in somebody else's column. And you can see when we've got the filter enabled here, when we've got a little tick, To remove the filter, it is as simple as clicking onto it and removing that filter. And again, we can click back onto it. Now we can also do something very, very handy by capabilities. Capabilities is a back-end setting. We're going to be covering this next week, by the way, on our management one. Capabilities is a back-end setting to tell the system who does balayage, who does cuts, who does gents. Now you may be watching this as a brand new member to the salon or the spa or the barbershop, and you might be thinking, how do I know what capabilities Chris has? Can he do gents cuts? Can he do nails? Can he do waxing? Can he do massages? Well, as long as capabilities are set up correctly, and again, we're going to be covering this next week, but as long as capabilities are set up correctly, we can literally click onto here, and you'll notice we have our capability categories just here. So we can then choose gents cuts, and that will then remove any staff member that is not capable of doing a gents cut. So you'll notice it has removed my staff member Sam and only left my 3 staff members that are capable. And again, you can mix between filters, you can do your rostered on, and you can also do things such as your capabilities as well. And that will then just leave myself, because I'm the only person rostered on, and I'm the only person capable of doing gents cuts. And again, you can just close that down there. So it's a very accurate way to ensure if we've got a staff member that doesn't do gents cuts, we're not going to accidentally book them in the incorrect column. Excellent stuff there. So let's just very, very quickly recap. So we've looked at our appointment diary, we've looked at our calendar in the top left, we've looked at our navigation bar on the right, we've looked at our menu, and we've looked at our filtering. Now, of course, from here, ladies and gents, it is a good idea to make ourselves an appointment. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose a column. So I'm going to make an appointment either in Sam or Chris's column. So all we need to do is choose a time cell. Now you'll notice you think it might be really easy to make an appointment for Amy because we've got Amy's column just here. But what about if we wanted to make an appointment all the way over in Amelia's column? You might be thinking, oh, am I going to have to sort of tally and marry this line up here? Am I going to have to sort of use a ruler I've seen done before and anything like that? No, we don't need to do anything like that. What we can do using the left side of our mouse, we can literally just click and drag. Or if you're using a touchscreen monitor, that's not a problem. You can just swipe your finger around. And you'll notice as I do so, each individual square kind of highlights. It almost looks like someone's stepping on it. And you'll also notice down the far left-hand side, the time highlights. So we've got 2, 2:15, 2:30, 2:45, and so forth. And that can be on anybody's column. And we can kind of see there when an appointment is going to be made. So I'm going to make an appointment in Chris's column, and I'm going to do it here at 1:15. Now what we've got here, we've got our sort of phone book, we've got our client list. In the top left, we can search by phone or email. That's a given. We can search by phone or email, or we're currently searching by first name. But you can also filter to last name. Now you'll notice again, we've got that exact same filter icon or that margarita glass or whatever we want to refer to it as. We've got that same icon there. We can then filter last name to first name or keep it first name to last name. But whichever way around you choose to filter, you can just pop in a phone number or you can pop in an email address as well. So it doesn't really matter which way you've got it filtered. You can pop that phone number in or you can pop that email in. What we can also do is add a brand new client into the database. So right at the top here, we've got this icon here that has been highlighted, and that will allow us to add in a brand new client. So we're just going to click onto new client. Anything highlighted with an asterisk means we have to take that information. So we need a first name, we need a last name, and we need a mobile number. Now you may have a slightly different setup. Again, that's all back-end information that we will discuss next week. Okay, but we're going to pop in our first name and we're going to pop in our last name. Okay, I'm just going to pop a double S in there, Mickey Mouse. And then we're going to pop a mobile number in there as well. Underneath, we've got our privacy policy as well, so we can click onto that and view that as well. And you can also accept the privacy policy if the client is over 16, or they will need a parent and guardian to sign if they are under 16. And then we're just going to click done there. You'll now notice we've only got the one client here that we are looking at. We've got their profile here if we do need to adjust anything, and we've also got the client history as well. Now you'll also notice as we look at this, you can see the client overview. We've got future appointments, past appointments, and any outstanding client series. So again, we're just going to make this appointment for our brand new client. And then you see we can tag the appointment. Tagging the appointment is a way to add in visual indicators to get a bit more information regarding this client. Now you again may have slightly different ones, and that's not a problem. You'll notice here there's a new icon. You can add in all sorts of new different tags. But the basics are NC for new client, NR for new request client, NS for a no-show client, R for request, and SC for salon client. So new client means they are brand new to the salon. NR means they've never been to the salon before, but they've heard great things about that particular staff member and they have requested them. R is a request client. It means they always have them. And a salon client means they always come to the salon, but they don't mind who they see. So of course, this was a new client. And we're just going to click done. And we're going to add in, using our service categories on the left here, we're just going to add in our ladies cut and finish. And then we're going to click done. Now, once we've got this appointment here, we can see we've got our tag in the top left-hand corner. And we've also got the eye here. The eye is just a very quick indicator to let you know we haven't taken all of the client details, and we can kind of ignore that, to be totally honest. That means we haven't taken their email, we haven't taken their address, we haven't taken their title. Now, I understand, ladies and gents, you're not going to take all of their details all of the time. So as we look at an appointment, again, we're stripping it right back here. You'll notice we've got two different shades of color. We've got a light green on the left here, and we've got like a dark green just here. And this is kind of separated by this, not asterisk, this half moon crescent just here. Now what we can do, if we place our mouse in the bottom right hand corner, we can click and drag. We just click and hold. We can make that appointment longer and shorter. And again, if we place our mouse or our finger in the top left, we can click or swipe, and we can move this appointment around. Now you'll notice if anyone just has a quick look in Rachel's column, you'll notice as I go to move this around, you'll notice Rachel's column has appeared black. Now the reason this is because Rachel is not set to work today. So of course this is another visual indicator to say do not move this over to Rachel. Now you may also have this as well with certain services. Now you'll notice I've moved this service here, and it's saying don't book it in with Sam. We can see the column has turned black, just like Amelia's on the right hand side as well. Now the reason it's doing this is because the back end setting for capabilities, Sam is not set to do a cut and finish. So again, this is a visual indicator to just say we should not be moving this cut and finish over to Sam. Now, of course, we can do this. Clients booking online can't. We can do this because it may be Sam is training on cuts and finishes. So we do want him to be able to book that in there. And of course, I'm sure lots of you watching, you have this where you've got certain staff members that don't do gents cuts, for example, but they do the odd gents cuts. So we do actually physically need to be able to book the appointment in, but clients booking online, no, not a chance. They won't be able to do this. So of course, you'll notice as I've done this, the appointment has turned brown, okay? But if I was to move it over to somebody that was capable, it goes back a normal sort of color or a confirmed color. But if I move it back, it goes back that brown color. That is letting me know that I've booked it in the incorrect column, or I've booked it with somebody that is incapable. So again, how can we double check what these colors mean? Again, we can go to our menu. We can click on our color legend and we can see there it is a clash. Now, clash is a technical name there, but we know it as an error or a mistake. We can see that just there. Now, also as well, we're going to make another appointment in exactly the same way. Let's just shift all these up here. We're going to make another appointment as well. Okay. Now, what we can do is rather than choosing Sam's column or Chris's column, so you might be thinking, I've got a client that wants to make an appointment, but who do I make the appointment with? Do I make it with Sam? Do I make it with Chris? Do I make it with Rachel? Who do I make the appointment with? Who gets priority of this appointment if we've got a client that doesn't mind who they see? So let's say I've walked through the door and I've gone, I just want to cut and finish. Don't mind who I see. What we can do, rather than prioritizing anybody, on the time cell, on the far left-hand side here, we can literally, without choosing a column, we can literally just down the left-hand side here, just click the time. So if a client says to you, I don't mind who I see, not bothered about the price, just want to come in at 2 o'clock. We can click on 2, choose the client, so we can say, oh yeah, no problem yet, Chris, we've got you here. Click on next, tag it, salon client. Again, they don't mind who they see. Click on to done. And it will just automatically book it in with whoever is capable and who is ever available. Now you'll notice, for example, it has moved it in with Chris, my column here, because of course, as we know, Sam wasn't available. So it will prioritize it there. So we always make sure it's booked in with the correct person. But that is just a very quick way, and I often think that's quite a hidden way. I don't believe a lot of people are using that. Now that works fantastic. As we said, if a client says, just want to come in at 2 o'clock, don't mind who I see. That works fantastic for our barbershop, should we say, when the prices are all the same, because they don't mind who they see. They just want to come in at 2 o'clock. And it takes that sort of guesswork out for us. It's sort of saying, do we book it with Sam? Do we book it with Rachel? Do we book it with Chris? Who do we prioritize? Let the system do it for you. Okay. It's what we call a fair allocation. The system will prioritize it all for you as long as they are capable. Excellent stuff. So that's just our 2 ways there to make an appointment. So we've got our appointments booked in, and we've got lots of different appointments, and we've also checked how to determine what the colors mean. And then we also dragged the appointment around and made them longer and shorter. What about if we need some further options? Now there are 2 ways we can do this, ladies and gents. We can left click or tap an appointment, and it will bring up this box here called the touch tip. Now, if you're using the cloud or the mobile phone cloud where you've got your appointments on your diary, you should be familiar with this here. So we can left click or tap onto the appointment, and we can click the 3 dots in the bottom right hand corner here. And this will bring up some further appointment options. But also in exactly the same way, we can right click, and that will bring up the full extended appointment options. So what about if we need to add on some notes? So something very, very quickly we can do is exactly the same. We can left click and click onto the 3 dots and go to notes, or we can right click and go down to notes. So the first thing we're going to do, ladies and gents, we're going to add in some temporary notes. This will not stay on the client's profile forever. It will stay on this appointment, but it will not stay on the client's profile. So it could be they ring up and they say they're running late. Because of course, that's only appointment specific. Now, we'd hope they don't always run late. It could be Mickey has rang up and said he's running a little bit late. So we've just added a very basic appointment temporary note on there. And we can read that note by literally just clicking onto it. And we can see it just says they're running late. Or exactly the same way, we can right click and just go down to notes. So we've added a note onto our appointment. But in exactly the same way, what about if we wanted to add a note onto one of our staff members? So at the top here, we can literally just click onto our staff member. And down the bottom here, we can add a message in. So we can say, please bring the A boards in. Let's put that in capital so we know that's the advertising boards from outside. Or it could be, please remember to do an order. Please remember to cash up. So it's just a very quick way to also add a message onto one of our staff members. And again, we can see that once we click onto it, save it. Once we click the save icon, you can see we have a little icon just at the top there. That's a very quick way to just add a message onto our staff member as well. Now, while we are here, ladies and gents, just while we are here, while we have clicked onto our employee at the top, that has opened up the employee quick profile. So very quickly here, we can see their level. We can see their capabilities. So we know they do styling, children, treatment, and colors. We can see their biography. We've added in that message there. And what we've also got while we are here, we've got a view week. So maybe you've got one of your clients saying to you, what's Sam's availability today? What's Sam's availability tomorrow? What's Sam's availability on Wednesday? And you find yourself frantically flicking through the pages at the bottom there and thinking, oh, I can't keep track of it. Well, again, we can click that employee profile at the top there. We can click view week. And that will open up Sam's full working week there. Now, what we can also do, we're looking at 1 week here. What we can also do in the bottom left, we can change it from 1 to 2 weeks, and that will show a full 2-week rota. 3 weeks, get ready for this. 3 weeks is quite squidged. I personally either like the 1 or the 2. But what about in exactly the same way? What about if you've got a client saying to you, I want my color with Sam, but I want my cut with Chris. We want to be split between. Now, of course, in an instance like that, we need to ensure that both our staff members are available. So exactly the same way, we can click onto that view week and we can see Sam. But in the bottom right here, we can click onto employee. Now we know Sam's already been highlighted. We can see selected one. We know Sam's already been highlighted. But as we said, we want to make sure Chris is available too. So we can use our multi-select tab just here. Make sure we click onto the 6 grey dots just here. We're not going to click the name, we're going to click the 6 grey dots. And you can now see we've got 2 selected. We can see I've been highlighted as well. We then just click done, and it will then pop us side by side. It is a great way to ensure we are being super accurate when we're making these appointments. We're making sure we've got all of our staff members side by side. Also as well, it's also a very, very quick, handy shortcuts tip for you. It's a very quick way to reschedule an appointment as well. If they say, I want to come in tomorrow, I want to come in on Friday, you can just drag it across there. But I do have another way to show you how to reschedule as well. We can just click done and that will take us away there. So let's just very quickly recap. We've added our note onto our appointment here, and we've also added a note onto our stylist or staff member at the top here. And while we were just there, we looked at our view week as well while we were there. We've got some other options we can play around with as well. But what about then, rather than adding a temporary note onto the appointment, what about if we needed to add a permanent note? And this is what we refer to as an alert, something we need to be made aware of every single time the client makes an appointment. It could be they have lots of hair. It could be they have an allergy. So how do we add these alerts in? So this time, what we're going to do is we are going to double left click onto the appointment. And down here, you will see we have these 2 icons, profile and history. We click onto profile. This will take us to the client's profile. We can update their home address. We can update their last name. We can update their mobile number. We can also update any opt-in details. So with the client's consent, we can opt them in for marketing and everything like that. We do have a message box to the left-hand side. There is a character limit on this. This is typically used to say things like, recently got married, recently had a baby, something like that. You can also pop a refreshment in there as well. But what about, as we said, we want to add an alert in there, something we need to be made aware of every single time the client makes an appointment. Like we said, they may have an allergy, they may have lots of hair. So in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got our alert here. So if we click onto the alert icon, it is always date specific, just in case something happened. Maybe the client wasn't feeling very well, or they were aggressive, or something that we need to be reminded of what happened on that date. We can pop in here, allergy to latex. Lots of hair, needs more time. We're throwing everything at this client. They got an allergy to latex and they have lots of hair. So we click on to done, we just click save, and then we click done and done again. Now you'll notice when we look at this appointment now, we've got that exclamation mark. And again, we can tap onto the appointment, bring up the touch tip menu here, and you can see right at the top here, allergy to latex, lots of hair, needs more time. Now you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, that's perfect. We know they've got an allergy. We know they've got lots of hair. We need more time. So we're going to drag the appointment down. But you might be thinking, oh, well, it's all well and good, Chris, but the appointment's been made. What about before we make the appointment? Okay, so let's make ourselves an appointment. Exactly the same way. We're going to click onto an appointment time cell. You'll notice when I choose that client, we can see in the top right here, we get that same exclamation mark as a visual indicator. And just here, we've got an allergy to latex, lots of hair, need more time. So before we've even made that appointment, we are now made aware that this client has lots of hair. So it's just a very quick visual indicator to ensure we're keeping track of any particular information there. So what about our client history then? So we've looked at alerts and we've looked at basic temporary notes. But what about client history and color notes? Now, most of you watching this will probably do coloring on hair, but also for our barbers, we can keep track of the clipper grade, whether they have a safety razor used. For our therapists, we can also keep track of the nail varnishes and the color of the eyelash extensions, anything in particular to do with the client history, typically used for visit notes. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to double click onto the appointment, and we've got our history and profile button here. We can click onto profile and we can click onto history, or we can literally just go straight to the history icon here. From here, we can then add in our color notes. So right down the bottom here, we've got a new icon. We can click onto new and we can add in our visit notes. So we can say this client had 713 and 20 volt. Or for our barbers, we can say grade 1. For our therapists, we can add in, rosy blush nail varnish or OPI rosy blush. I have no idea whether that's a real one. Let me know in the comment box if I got that correct for a nail varnish. But all we're doing there is literally just adding in our history notes, and it's a great way to be accurate. These can also be printed out and viewed again if necessary. So it's a great way for future appointments down the line. We can say, oh yes, last time we had 713 and 20 volt, or we used a grade 1. Do you want to go a grade 2, or do you want to go a skin fade for this sort of thing? It's a great way to keep track of all of our history notes there. And it doesn't just have to be anything like that. You can discuss products, or you can say, discuss going lighter next time. It is a great way to ensure that the service can be as sort of one-to-one and bespoke as possible. And also for us as stylists as well, it means we can always keep track of our client information, ensure we know exactly what color to use next time. So again, let's just go back to our appointment diary there. So we looked at lots of different ways to manage our appointment options. We can left click on the 3 dots, or we can right click and go through lots of different options here. Now, in particular, I'm going to show you this one because I feel this one often gets overlooked, the reschedule icon. Now, I see a lot of people, when they want to reschedule a customer, they either left click 3 dots or they right click and delete. So whichever way around you ladies and gents like to do it, I see a lot of people deleting the client when they want to reschedule. There's no need to do that. All we need to do, exactly the same as before, left click 3 dots or right click. All we need to do is click onto that reschedule icon there. Once we do, choose a date to reschedule. Choose an open time slot to reschedule the appointment. Exactly the same as before. Confirm the reschedule from 12:15 on the 10th to 10 o'clock on the 11th. You'll notice it has now been moved. So it's a very, very quick way to reschedule. There is no need to delete it in case we forget what they were booked in for. And also for our cloud reporting, which is another session, for our cloud reporting, we don't want to have any unnecessary cancelled appointments in there. Okay, excellent stuff. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at checking out the client, because that hour is absolutely flying by this morning, ladies and gents. So we're going to look at now checking out the client as well. So to do this, what we can do is right click and arrive the client if you wish to. Now, right clicking and arriving the client, or exactly the same way, left click, 3 dots and arrived. Arriving the client is a great visual indicator to let all of your staff members know that Chris is in the building. So as we know, we've got our tag in the top left that indicates Chris is a new client. So if we think about this literally, we may not know what he looks like. So arriving the client and giving this blue visual indicator to the entire salon will let us know that Chris is in the building. Now, once we've done this, all we need to do is right click and check the client out. So let's fast forward 45 minutes. We're now going to right click, or exactly the same as before. I'm sure you've got it by now. Left click, 3 dots, or just click the checkout icon just here, however you prefer to do it. Now, when we click on to checkout, this will take us to our point of sale screen. Now, our point of sale screen is anything to do with money changing hands. Think of it as the basket, the shopping trolley, okay? You'll notice straight away it has taken us to the point of sale screen. And this is essentially the client's bill. Now, as we look at this, you can see we've got the client profile, just in case Chris says to you, oh, I think you might have my phone number down incorrectly, or can I give you my email address? And exactly the same way, we've also got the client history. So depending on how you like to run your salon, you could add in your client history here. That could be the 713 and the 20 volt. That could be the grade 1. Or if you like to, you can click onto the client history and then say, ah, yes, I remember we spoke about this shampoo last time, or whatever it may be. You can keep track of the client's history. So as we look at this here, we have the client's bill. Now, what about if they actually had a toner, but it wasn't booked in, but we need to add it on? Or maybe they want to purchase a product. So all we need to do is click any one of the empty sale lines just here. These are the sale lines just here, these empty grey squares. We can click onto these here. We can choose whoever sold the product or performed the service. We can add in an additional service here. So we can say he wasn't booked in for it, but he ended up having, what should we book him in for? He had a nice little emulsion treatment. And we can add that on there. And a product. Now, of course, you may wish to scan the product, but I'm not using a barcode scanner. We can manually search for the product. I'm going to click onto product, and I'm just going to add that product in there. So we're adjusting the client's bill. Now, at this stage, the client may say to you, oh, I've been sent a discount. Now, when we do a discount, it's always worth using a discount reason so we can backtrack and use the paper trail. So there's 2 ways to add discounts in. You'll notice we've got a discount column here, and we've got a discount button here. So what is the difference? It may be the discount is only off the one service. So let's say the discount is only to be taken off the treatment, okay? We can choose the discount column here, choose one of our many discount reasons, and we can add that discount in there. Okay, and you'll notice it only takes it off the one service. I'm just going to clear that discount. But what about if the discount is off both services? It's to be split across both services. This is where we can use our discount button. Again, going to choose my reason there. And you'll notice it has then split it across accordingly. So we often do that. Maybe let's say the color was done by one of the senior staff members, but the blow dry was done maybe by the trainee and it was of a low value anyway, and we didn't want that discount to be taken off of that there. So that's why we use the discount column or the discount button. Now, if we need to remove anything from the point of sale or adjust the quantity, we can use the quantity markers here. Or if we need to remove the product because maybe they said, oh, I just wanted a price check, I didn't actually want to purchase it today, we want to remove it, we can adjust the quantity to 0, or we can use the trash can icon to the right hand side here, and that will just remove it from the point of sale screen. Right down here we have the outstanding amount, so we can see there's £24.08 to be paid. To the bottom right hand corner we have our payment types. We've got our card, that can be credit or debit, or our cash. You can split the payment between two if you wish to. I would always recommend, if that is the case, taking the card payment first, just in case the card declines. If you do wish to split it between two, we just click onto card and adjust the amount accordingly. So I'm going to say I'm going to take £15 on card, and then we just click done, and you'll notice there is an outstanding £9.08 left. So this time we're going to click onto cash. Now there's a very good chance at this time they probably won't hand you £9.08, they'll probably hand you a nice crisp £10 note. If that is the case, we input however much money the client gives us. Now this is really so the system just works the change out for you. If you make a mistake and run it through as £9.08, it won't affect cashing up or anything like that. It just means you have to work the change out yourself. So we're going to say the client gives us £10. We click done, and then it will tell us there's a balance of 92p. So all we do is we just click finish sale, choose no receipt or email or print or email and print, and we just give that client their 92 pence change back. So they know exactly how much they need to be given back. So it will work the change out for you. And that is how we can make an appointment, add in a discount, add in some products and additional services. You'll now see our client has changed to grey. That means that client has now been checked out. And again, we can check what the colors mean by going onto menu, going onto our color legend, and we can see that is a completed sale just there. So what about grouping clients? What about if we have husbands and wives, fathers and sons, everything like that, and we want to group the payment together? Okay, so not going to pay individually, they're going to pay together. What I would say, before we group the clients together, treat them individually first. That I mean, add in any discounts, add in any products, do whatever you need to do. Treat the appointment separately first, okay? Then once both clients have arrived, so let's say we've got Christine and Chris here. Once both clients have arrived, again, treat them both individually first. So make sure when you're in your point of sale screen, you've got your bar at the top here. This will have both of your clients that have all been arrived. Treat them all individually first. Make sure you've got all of the discounts, all of the products, treat them all individually first. Then once you've treated each individual bill separately, we can then group them together. So we do this at the top bar here. We click onto this here, and again, this will show you all of your staff members that have arrived. What we do is we click hashtag group. We can see the 3 clients that have been arrived. We can then use our multi-select tabs that we looked at earlier to just click and select the 2 clients together, and we just click done. That is now grouped the clients together and gives us a group total. Now, each individual bill and everything like that will still appear on the client's history. We don't need to worry about that. But as you can see at this stage, we've grouped it together. It's the final hurdle, which is why I say treat them individually first. But the history, everything like that, once we check the client out, will all be under each respective client. So it's only the initial aspect. You just need to make sure you've treated them all individually first. And that is how we can group our clients together. Now, I know a lot of you will be using things such as upfront payments and everything like that, which means, we take our deposits when a client books online or via the mobile guest app, whatever it may be. But if you're not using our feature called upfront payments, maybe you like to manually take a deposit. That can be over the phone or face to face. It won't be via the online booking or the mobile guest app. Okay, so if you do want to manually take a deposit, this is what we refer to as an account payment. Okay, so an account payment is a manual deposit. So to do this, there's one golden rule to remember. You have to assign that deposit, you have to assign that account payment to a client. And again, it's all done via the point of sale screen. Remember, our point of sale screen is anything to do with money changing hands. So we're going to add a manual deposit. We're going to add money to a client's account. Now, this can also be used if a client wishes to pay for their son that's coming in a week's time. They want to pay for a future appointment that they can't be with them for. Again, it's adding money onto a client's account. So the thing to remember, we have to assign it to a client. So once we're in the point of sale screen, we just click new sale in the top left and we choose that client. So again, we'll stick with Mickey. So we're going to choose that client there we wish to take the manual deposit for or the future payment for. And then we just click next. Then from here, again on the empty grey sale lines, exactly the same as before, we're just going to build the client's bill. We just click onto it. At this stage, the money is going to the business, but between us, ladies and gents, it doesn't actually make a difference yet because we're only taking the money. So we're going to choose business and we're going to add the money to a client's account. We're going to add in the price column here, how much the manual deposit is or how much the future payment will be. And then from here, we just take the payment as normal. So how are they going to pay for this deposit? Are they going to pay via card or are they going to pay via cash? And we just click that all important bit, finish sale. And then we can email or print the receipt if applicable. So Mickey Mouse now has £50 on his account to spend. Think of it almost as a credit note, or as we know, as a deposit. So how do we know if Mickey has money on his account? So if we search for Mickey at the top here, we can see he has £50 in credit. And that just lets us know he's got money on his account. So what about then if he wishes to spend his money? So again, I'm just going to book Mickey Mouse in for an appointment exactly the same as before. Exactly the same as before when I arrive. Now when I check the client out, we can see right at the top here, he's got £50 on his account. But we can see the bill is £20, okay? So what I would say we do first is redeem the money off his account first. So all we do to redeem the money off his account is click onto the other icon. Now, I'm going to click onto the gift icon. That's just because I'm using a test system. But when you do this, ladies and gents, 99.99% of the time, to redeem the money off the account, you will choose the other payment type. But I'm just going to use gift, okay? And all you need to search for is account, okay? So whichever one you click onto, it should be under other. All you do is you click onto account. We know he's got £50 on his account there. We just redeem that there. And then that just tells us there is an outstanding amount of £70. And we just take that exactly the same as normal. And we can print or email. And that will redeem that money off the client's account there. Excellent stuff. Now, we don't often get asked this, but what about a refund? Okay, so maybe we need to refund the client for a service. Okay, and there's a couple of ways we can do this. If we need to refund the entire amount, like we said, it's not very common, but we do often get asked it. It's not very common, but we do get asked it. How do we refund? Well, the first way and the quickest and most accurate way to refund the full amount is to go to the client and then search for that client. So let's say I want to refund a particular client. We choose the client here and we click onto their history. We can see the services they've had. So then all we do is we right click and we go down to refund. And it will then say Amy's been transferred to the point of sale, ready to complete the transaction. Again, we click done. We go back to our point of sale and we can see there's the refund there. Then all we do, the all important bit, finish sale, and then we just choose the payment type to refund to. Very similar to when we go into a shop or a supermarket and they say, do you have the card that you paid with? Or if they paid with cash, you can refund them via cash. So just refund them via the payment method that they use and then just choose a reason. This is all for your reporting. Now, if you need to refund them a small amount, so maybe you overcharge them by £10 or something like that, there's a small amount of legwork required, okay? The first thing we need to do is we really need to know all of the information about that appointment. So for instance, we need to know who the stylist was if there's commission to be paid, and we need to know what service they were booked in for initially. So again, we can do this all under the clients, and then we can find who the service provider was, who the stylist was, what the service actually was. Once we've got that information, we then just recreate the bill at the point of sale screen. So for example, we can go to point of sale, choose the client, and then we just recreate that bill. So we know it was a barber cut and finish, and we know it was booked in with Amelia. So we click onto Amelia. We then rebuild the bill. So we click onto the service and we choose whichever service it was. So it was a dry cut actually. So we choose the dry cut. And then if we overcharge them by, let's say, £5 or £2 or whichever the monetary value is, we just adjust the price here. So let's say they were supposed to have a discount, or they usually have £5 off. So we just add that £5 in there. And then all we do is adjust the quantity to minus. And that will then just minus that specific amount. Now, the first way I showed you there is through the client history, is if you're refunding them the full amount, okay? But if you just need to, if you overcharge them by £5 in this instance there, just recreate the client's bill, just watch it back, and then just change the quantity to -1 there as well. And that is just a very, very quick way to refund the client, and then just click finish sale, and then just refund them to the same type. Like I said, it's not very common that we do this, but if you do accidentally overcharge somebody, just recreate the bill and then just minus it off that way there. Just as we draw to an end, I know we've gone a little bit over changing payment types. Now, often, let's say if client's going to pay by card, we run it through in our haste, and then the card declines, and then they nip to the cash machine. And then, of course, they end up paying with cash. But we've already ran it through in our haste on our shortcut system to tell the system that they paid card rather than cash. Then when we come to cash up at the end of the day, our cashing up doesn't balance. Our cash is lower than our card, or our card is lower than our cash. So it's always a good idea to switch it round. So if a client did pay via cash and you ran it through his card, to change it round. And again, this is all done via the point of sale screen. So again, in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got transactions. That will give you a list of all of your transactions for today. Now you will notice you can also adjust the date here. So maybe you've been away for a couple of days, you've gone to cash up, and you realized a couple of days ago, Mrs. Smith was ran through his card when she actually paid in cash. So we need to adjust it. We can use the date in the top right-hand corner to flick to any particular date there and adjust it accordingly. But you'll notice we had Mickey Mouse in earlier. We've got him ran through his £50 cash. He actually paid in card. When we come to do our cashing up later on, that's going to throw it completely out. So how do we change it? So we click onto it, and then down the bottom here, we've got edit payment. When we click on to edit payment, we can see they paid in £50 cash, but we know in reality they didn't. They actually paid in card. So all we do is we change cash to 0 because they literally didn't pay anything in cash. And at this stage, you think to yourself, oh, was it £50? Was it £60? Was it £70? How much did they pay? Not a problem. It does always show it just here, but also if I click card, it brings it straight back. It remembers exactly what it is. So no need to really remember. Click on to done, click done, and it will say, are you sure you want to update the transaction? And you can see it's been amended here, and here is the amendment here. So this is just a great way of our reporting or our salon owners and directors to keep track of that there, so they can see exactly what payment type was changed and why it was changed around there. And then we just click done and go back to our appointment diary. Excellent stuff. So one other thing, just I know lots and lots of people that will want to know how to do this, petty cash. Now, depending on your security settings, now, as I say that, it may not make sense, but if you want to know what security settings are, join us next week to see how to adjust those for our owners and our managers. But petty cash, so if we do need to take money, what we do, again, all through the point of sale screen, in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got more actions. We can click onto more actions, and we've got this option here that says take petty cash. We then enter the amount. So this is if we need to nip to the shop to get milk, tea, sugar, coffee, whatever it may be. Enter the amount. So I'm going to take £20, and then we click done. Now at this stage, nothing much has actually happened apart from we've told the system we've taken £20 out the till. So the system now knows there is £20 missing. Off we go to the shop, we buy our tea, sugar, milk, coffee, we buy everything we need. But the system knows we're £20 down. We need to tell the system how much money we spent, even if we spent it all. So even if we spend all of our money, we need to tell the system why and what we spent it on. So again, we come back to our point of sale. In the bottom left-hand corner, we go to more actions. And this time you'll notice there's an option that says return petty cash. We can see the amount and when it was taken. We just click done. So now what we do is we tell the system what we spent our money on and how much we spent. Essentially, think of it as just replicating our receipt. So I've got my receipt in front of me. I'm going to say for client refreshments, we click add and we say I spent £2.50 on client refreshments. I'm just mirroring and replicating that receipt. Parking, 80p. And that's all I spent. And I can click done, and it will tell me here I'm going to return petty cash of £16.70. So at this stage, we would look down and be like, yep, I've got £16.70 left. We just triple and double check that, and then we just click finish sale. And it says you must return £16.70 to the till and deposit any expense receipts. Please note the recording expense cannot be deleted later. So we just click done. We would then get ourselves another receipt printed out. We can staple the two together. We pop that £16.70 back in the till. It then knows we spent £3.30 on client refreshments and parking, and our salon owners and directors and managers will be able to run a report to keep track of that. And our cashing up at the end of the day will balance completely. And that is petty cash, and that draws to an end for this morning's refresher class. Now, I do apologise, I went ever so slightly over there, so I know lots and lots and lots of you have emailed saying, please pop the recording across, not a problem. I try to get as much in there as humanly possible for our back to basics. I know a lot of you watching brand new to Shortcuts, brand new to your salons as well, getting you confident using our system, and hopefully as well for some of our more experienced users, I managed to throw a few sort of more advanced things in there as well. But feel free to join us next week where we're going to be doing our essential management training, which will be going through reports, back-end setup, and real sort of advanced things. But hopefully this morning you've all found it informative for our back to basics. Like I said, do join our social media pages, our Shortcuts UK. Do join us on there every other Friday. We'll be doing top tips as well. So do share, like, and follow on there. Again, I'll just pop the tag handles on the screen now for you. Perfect. So we can see all that there. So excellent stuff. Thank you all for joining me this morning. I did have quite a few questions come through. I tried to sort of keep an eye on them as they came through. But as always, I open the floor to questions now. Feel free to pop those across to me now, just while I answer all the other ones. Perfect. Excellent stuff. Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to get through the last couple of questions there. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Like I said, if you do think of anything, feel free to drop us an email at education@shortcuts.co.uk. Hopefully you'll all be able to join me on my up and coming masterclasses. We have lots of different ones. We do repeat them sort of every other month as well. So if you joined us today, probably be running at the end of August as well. But like I said, feel free to drop a little message in there if you do want it sent across to you as well. Lovely stuff. So I think that's it for all of the questions. As always, thank you ever so much for joining me and taking your time out of your day. I know some of you join me on your day off as well. Always a pleasure to speak to you all. Do join me next week. And as we said, do join us on our Facebook and social media pages, everything like that. But that's it for me this morning. Again, thank you ever so much for joining me. Continue to stay safe, and I will see you and speak to you all again soon. Thank you ever so much, guys. Take care. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.